2, 1. We're live.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the 30-Minute Hour. It's the weekly podcast where we discuss business, sports, politics, and whatever's on our mind. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner, and I'm also the author of The Discipline of Now, 12 Practical Principles to Overcome Procrastination. Joining me as always is my partner in crime. You know him as the super CEO. You also know him as the business strategist extraordinaire and all-around good guy, Ted Fells. So Ted, he's not even saying, he's giving us a thumbs up.
Yeah, just doing a thumbs up today. Good evening, everyone.
All right. So normally you've been doing the head nods and that's the thumbs up. You gotta keep it interesting, I guess. Okay. And we have a special guest who we're going to bring on shortly or introduce shortly. You see the third square over there. We'll introduce her and bring her in the mix here in the moment. But Ted, I mean, what an awesome weekend we had on Saturday with the What Now Movement Virtual Business Summit.
That was great, man. That was great. A lot of inspirational, motivational presentations and just that one presentation by Eric Twiggs was just amazing. Like people are still talking about it right now. Man, you got that thing going, Eric. Great job.
Oh man, thank you. Now it was definitely an honor to share. You know, we talked about beating procrastination through the discipline of now. But we talked about leveraging digital platforms.
Oh yeah.
And how do you make that pivot when you can't get on stage in front of 1,000 people like you're accustomed to? How do you leverage digital platforms for success? I thought that was an excellent conversation. And then we also talked about leading with empathy.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting as well, because when you think about leadership, you don't always think about empathy, but empathy is critical.
Absolutely.
To being able to get through and have that impact.
Yeah, a lot of great feedback, and just everyone that participated just felt there was some great content. So, we'll be doing that every month.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And people can actually go on to Facebook to the What Now Movement. Just type in the What Now Movement in the search bar and request an invite to join the group. You can join the What Now Movement and you can scroll down. The summit was from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock from this past Saturday. You can see all of those presentations and really we have great content every day. People go on live. They get fitness tips on Friday. They talk about mental health on Monday, time management on Tuesday. So it's a good thing. Absolutely. That's the What Now Movement group. And this is not your everyday podcast.
No.
And you're gonna find out here shortly why we're saying that. Like Kevin Hart says, you're gonna learn today.
You're gonna learn today, yeah. Because we just keep bringing just great guests. Like every week. It's just endless with just greatness.
Non-stop, man. Our guest, she was keeping us in check off air.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We know we got to choose our words carefully. So
right.
Now another excellent guest. This is not your everyday podcast. You can find us. You can actually go to the 30minutehour.net and hear the archived episodes. You can go right here to the 30-Minute Hour Facebook page and watch us live or watch one of our previous recordings. And some of you that are watching us now, feel free to leave your comments, say hello. You can post questions, and we'll have a good time. And Ted, now a word from our sponsor. We have a sponsor, Ted, that we need to give a shout out to.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, surprising. Yeah, we have a sponsor.
Okay.
And we get questions from time to time about sponsorships, and you can email me at eric@ericmtwigs.com if you're interested in being a sponsor of the 30-Minute Hour podcast. But our sponsor for today This is where you need the drum rolls. Thank you. That was very helpful. But I tell you, it's not your everyday podcast. All right. It's Ethos 108. That's our sponsor for today. Ethos 108. Now, Ethos 108, it's a community of professionals that are doing well at many levels. It's over 420 professionals that get together on this email platform. And it's all about excellence. And it's a platform to have leaders of all ages. They have young nonprofit startups they have someone that's 89 years old who's a retired mathematician who worked on the GPS for the military in the 50s, the 60s. Wow. So they have a wide range of people in the network. Ethos 108, they offer e-real estate for professionals to offer tips from their area of expertise. E-real estate, you definitely want to check it out. Bottom line, Ethos 108, it engages experts in our community to help everybody out. It's not for everybody, but it may be for you.
All right.
For more information, you want to email Rob Joel at ROBJOELL@gmail.com for more information.
Oh, that's good. That was good, man. We need to get some of those sponsors that for those restaurants, man, so they can send some sandwiches and stuff in here.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. That would be a good thing.
Something. So if you're a sponsor out there and you want to send some food to our squares up here, feel free to let us know, and we'll give you a shout out if it's good. Not good, we just gonna hold back. We're not gonna mess up your business. But if it's good, we're gonna give you a shout out.
If you don't hear anything back, take that as a hint.
That's back to the drawing board. Right?
All right. But now, again, if you are interested in being a sponsor, you can email me, Eric at ericmtwigs.com for more information.
Eric, I still can't figure out why it's like all this light is on my head and it's not on your head, man. I'm adjusting. I've been adjusting my light. I'm moving around. What is it, man?
Ted, man, you got to get your light game up, man. You got to step it up. This is a 30-minute hour podcast. You got to. The other thing you want to look into, getting like professional makeup person to kind of pat you down before the show starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure your brow is dry. Huh?
Exactly.
Okay. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a special guest. You got to step our game up when we got a special guest like we have. So can't half step.
Yeah. So you got the palm tree in the background again too.
Absolutely. I try to have pictures behind me of places I won't be going anytime soon.
It's all right to dream.
Sure.
Especially during a pandemic. I'm just going to be sitting right here, watching others at the beach on TV.
That's right.
All right. Well, Ted, I've got something that's on my mind.
All right. Please share.
All right. Thank you. So I want to talk today, and this ties into our guest that we're about to bring on the topic of moving from the pit to the palace.
All right.
Moving from the pit to the palace.
To the palace.
So there was this guy named Ron, and he had just graduated from college with the hopes of landing a job as the sporting goods manager with a major retail chain. He was a star athlete in college, so the sporting goods department seemed like a natural fit. He approached the interview with confidence, feeling good about his chances for the position. His confidence grew after the interview with the hiring manager. He was dressed for success. He felt he had all the right answers to the questions.
It was his job.
Yeah, it was his job. He named it and claimed it, Ted.
All right.
As the interview concluded, he was told that he'd be contacted at the end of the week with the final decision. So that Friday, Ron received the call from the manager informing him that they had decided to pass on him
Mm.
and hire another candidate.
Mm.
So he was so disappointed. He went home and literally cried to his mother.
Mm.
And for the first time in his life, he experienced a major failure, a major setback. He felt like he was in a pit,
Mm.
but the story doesn't end there.
Okay.
So his failure to get the sporting goods manager job led him to pursue a radio broadcasting career. Okay. The exposure he received from being on the radio led him to pursue acting.
Mm.
His popularity as an actor opened the door for him to enter politics.
Mm.
So the Ron in this story is Ronald Reagan.
Mm. Okay.
And get this, historians believe that if he hadn't been passed over, he would have never become president.
Mm.
So he moved literally from the pit to the palace.
Mm.
So have you ever felt like you were in a pit? That's the question for our followers,
Yeah.
right? So here is what you can do to move from the pit to the palace. And this is the part of the show where you have to get off the treadmill, push pause on the elliptical, go from the kitchen to the living room and sit down.
Put those barbecue chips down.
Right.
And the dip.
And the dip. Right. You got to put both down. So here it is. If you want to move from the pit to the palace, it's critical that you view your setback as preparation for your ultimate destination. That's what it is. So I have a mentor. My mentor's name is Dr. Willie Jolly. Here's how he puts it. Your setback is a setup for a comeback.
Yes.
I've just learned that to be true. I've realized over the years that's true. You know, we all have things that happen. Why did this happen? Oh my goodness. But then when you look back, you realize that that was critical.
Yeah.
And that door closing led to another door opening. And I mean, and this is like the perfect opening to bring our guests on, because you know she's definitely embraced this mindset of moving from the pit to the palace, and we'll get there. And that's actually, by the way, that's like the subtitle of her book, Moving from the Pit to the Palace, just coincidentally enough.
I like Eric. I like how you did that.
I don't choose these titles all willy-nilly, Ted. There's a method to the madness here.
All right.
So let's go ahead and introduce her, because I really want to hear her take on this, moving from the pit to the palace. So the question is, what challenges in the workplace have you encountered that left you feeling as if you were mistreated? That's the question. So our guest is the author of Chocolate Drop in Corporate America, where she has chosen to speak up for not only minorities, but also anyone who has been slighted on the job in any way. From her personal testimony, you will learn how speaking up brought awareness so that long-lasting change could be made.
Right.
Please join me in welcoming to the 30-Minute Hour podcast, Genesis Amaris Kemp.
Hey, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here on this podcast, speaking to you all tonight.
All right.
Welcome.
Welcome. It is an honor to have you on. And I saw you online. I saw your book. I saw your energy as far as just what you're putting out there. And I said, we definitely have to have you on the podcast. So this is an honor. I'm glad we're at this point. So
It's an honor for you to even have me on your podcast. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, I tell you, she's keeping us in line. I tell you.
We are honored.
No, just kidding. Just a little jokey joke.
All right.
And we're
All right.
and we're pretty serious on this show if you haven't realized that yet. So we don't do a whole lot of joking here.
That's right. That's right. As you can tell. All right. So, I mean, just curious. You graduated from the University of Houston. When you were in college, like what was the vision you had for your life? Like, what is it? Did you have any ideas you'd be an author? What were you thinking?
No, actually not. When I started my whole college career thing, I was actually trying to go to med school, but I started out working at the cancer center, and then my job became obsolete, so I needed to find a job, and I kind of just fell into oil and gas. And I started in oil and gas in 2009, stayed at a smaller corrosion company for 4.5 years. Then I said, oh, I want something new. So I wanted to swim with the big fish. So I left there and went to a Fortune 500 company that had international ties because I saw myself, traveling. And then they offered to pay for school. And the rest was history. So I was like, oh, someone's going to fit the bill. Okay. So I changed my entire degree plan to supply chain and logistics and technology. Have two minors, one in purchasing and one in organizational leadership and supervision. And then I kind of just worked my way up in the oil and gas sector. And I feel like everything happened for a reason, and we go through various trials and tribulations in order to get us to where we're supposed to be. So even though I didn't pursue medicine like I originally wanted to, I knew that there was a blessing in the storm, and I had to endure what I did in order for certain blessings to come about. So no, I would never thought about writing a book, but it happened.
Interesting.
Wow,
Interesting.
great.
It's like if you could go back in time, knowing what you now know to when you were a sophomore at Houston,
Mhm.
what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't settle. Keep your dreams and passions ignited. Never let anyone talk you out of your dreams. And you know what you ultimately want to be in life, because so many times, so many people ask you, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? But they never ask you, who do you want to be when you grow up? And I think that's the who part is very critical, because you should never conform to what someone wants you to be.
Let's go there. So, what do you see as the difference between what do you want to be and who do you want to be?
So what do you want to be? There's systematic issues that you have to go through in order to get to what you want to be. Like there's certain check marks that you have to meet, and there's certain criteria. Whenever you hit it with who do you want to be, then the who becomes your purpose and your destiny calling and the assignment that you have on your life. So I think that's a big difference. The what versus the who is how I like to articulate it.
Now I think that's profound, because we always say, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you
Yeah.
As opposed to really thinking about that who.
Because the who is very important, because when you pass on, like, what do you want people to say about you? Do you want people to say, hey, she left a legacy, or he left a legacy, or they did all these incredible things, versus if you're just a what, like, oh, I'm just a pediatrician, or I'm just whatever, but your who really is like your personal brand.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
So you wrote this book, Chocolate Drop in Corporate America. Talk about the experiences that led up to you writing this book.
Okay, so what actually led me to writing the book was one day out of frustration. It was just after like a performance review. My supervisor had said some things to me that I quite didn't agree with, and I felt like slighted because, one, I'm the only chocolate drop on my team. I'm also the youngest person on my team. So I've found out that I was ranked differently amongst my peers. So, and then I was also in a different pay category. And I'm like, is it because the color of my skin, or is it because, I'm just new to this particular organization, or what is it? Because I was like, I'm doing the same work as my colleagues. Like, I'm meeting with internal and external stakeholders. My metrics are good. My performance review is good. But I felt like there was something that just wasn't right. And the only thing that was different was that I was a woman and I was African American.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, that's an issue. And you want to talk, and if you want to talk about inclusion and diversity, let's talk about it because I could go there with you.
Okay. Wow. And so, I mean, you felt like you were slighted on this review. Yes. So, I mean, what was the next step you took? You just went and started writing, or?
So I wrote down in my notes app like chocolate drop in corporate America, and then I wrote like maybe 3 or 4 sentences and I left it alone. But then the next step I took at work, I was like, I want to get some answers. So I had a discussion with my supervisor's boss, and I brought up some of the issues that I saw because I was like, one, you're paying me as X, Y, and Z, but in reality, I'm doing all of this. So how can I get to the next level? Because whenever you put up on the board and you showed the pay ranges, my range wasn't even up there. And I started coming with my facts, and I started making statements to show them, hey, let's put it in black and white. Let's put it on paper, because I was done with the lip service. Like at that point, I had enough, because I'm now coming up with 7 years with this particular Fortune 500 company. And you keep saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but I don't see any actions behind it. And I don't want to be 10 years down the line with this company in the same spot, because that is not my end all be all. And that's not my personal goal. My goal is to work, achieve my certain goals, and get to the next level, not to be, complacent and still pigeonholed.
That's interesting that you said that you went to your supervisor's boss. Mm-hmm. Like that was a pretty that's a word I want to use for that, but that was a bold move.
Bold.
Yeah.
Some people may say it was ballsy. Because I felt like some people say ballsy, like, oh, that was a ballsy.
Well, that was what I was thinking. But this is a family show, so I could say that.
No, that's exactly let me keep it PC. Yeah, because I felt like as a woman, and she was a woman supervisor, I was going to her, but she wasn't giving me the answers I need. And I feel like if you're a woman in a male-dominated field, you should be willing to help the next woman, no matter what color of their skin is, because you knew how hard it was for you to even get in certain ranks in a male-dominated field. So by her not even wanting to help me and just keep giving me like the runarounds, I was done with that. And I was like, I want some concrete answers. I'm very, direct, but don't confuse my directness for aggressive, because they love to say, oh, she's aggressive or she's an angry Black woman, when I'm not really. I think they're just mainly confusing my compassion and labeling it as aggressive, because they're so used to using certain stereotypes.
Okay. Now, how long did it take you to write the book?
From about 2 months, actually, from January to March. Because
Wow. I mean, we have quite a few authors that are watching us and they listen to us. Kind of, what was your writing process like? I mean, did you stay up late at night? Did you get up in the morning? What was describe your writing process?
Definitely staying up late at night. I went to work during the day, and every time an incident came up, it just fueled my passion to write more. So then when I would get off of work, I would write at nighttime. So I definitely consider myself a night owl, and I knew like during that time, it was like when I could cut away all the negativity and the creativity juices will flow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let me go back to the situation with your boss, because it's intriguing to me. So once you went to your boss's boss, mm-hmm. and then there was some movement, right? I would assume. Then you could tell us about that.
I think it started to grease the wheels a little bit, because he saw that I was serious and that I was a no nonsense person. And I told him I would hate, for y'all to invest in me and not get a return on your investment. So not get a ROI, because you already paid for me to go to school. You already paid for certain trainings. And at this point, like, I have nothing to lose, because one person's trash is another person's treasure. So I could take my skills and go elsewhere. And I felt like I was just being bold and I was being transparent because I know what I want as far as career wise, and I know my worth. So I'm not just going to sit here and expect you to drop a bone that may never come.
Mm. And so how was your relationship with your boss after that?
It was a little rigid, but it was already rigid from the beginning. So it became more rigid because there were some days where I would say good morning and she would look at me and not even speak. And I think that's very rude and disrespectful because it doesn't cost you anything to say good morning to somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Good with that.
And then the subtitle of the book is From the Pit to the Palace. Kind of talk about what inspired the subtitle.
Okay, so I had started at, like I said, I started at the bottom. I started out as an administrative assistant. So when you're an admin, a lot of people, they don't see all the work that you put in to make the team successful and make sure everyone gets what they need when they need it. So I felt like that was my pit part. And I was also going to school during that time. Although I had came into the organization already having technical experience, like I was doing topside level 1 inspection reports for risers. I was doing DOT, so Department of Transportation. I was doing drug and alcohol testing and all the other things that, a professional will do. But when I came to this Fortune 500 company, they said, oh, we don't really have a technical role for you. Would you take an admin? And I was like, oh, okay, sure. Because anyone in their right mind is like, okay, that's my way to get my foot in the door.
Sure.
But it was once I got into that company, I noticed that I had to be my own advocate and my own sponsor. I had to fight for where I wanted to go in the company. And I wasn't going to settle at no. And I wasn't going to settle for, oh, you don't have the credentials, because once I had my 4-year degree, there was no way of comparing apples and oranges because I'm now an apple to an apple. Like I have a 4-year degree, I'm a professional, I have the work experience. So I deserve to have a seat at the table, just as Susie Q, who didn't have no degree. But she got to where she was because of nepotism, favoritism, or like some people say, they do a little things change for some change. And I was not about that. And I
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, I'm just
That's real talk.
I'm just coming to you real and trying to be PC since this is a family podcast.
That's it. That's it.
But those were some things that I had to endure, and I felt like it definitely made me stronger.
Mm.
Okay.
And so that's why I said from the pit to the palace, because it definitely was the pit. And I felt people look down as you when you're in a certain role. But once you get up and you start climbing the corporate ladder, then they want to come and say hi and smile in your face. Well, I'm the same person. I never changed. You changed once you saw that my title changed.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then so who would you say is the target audience for your book? And what do you think they're going to really pick up after reading it?
So the target audience, it's versatile. So I would definitely say that admins, administrative assistants, as well as minorities, other chocolate drops too. So African American people from various industries who went through some of the same situations, as well as other people in general who have been slighted by certain workforces.
Okay. So what, I'm curious, like what type of feedback have you gotten from people? How have people, they say, oh, I can relate. Oh my gosh, I went through that same thing. Describe the feedback you've gotten, responses you've gotten.
So some oil and gas people said they could definitely relate because that was their story, but they were afraid of telling their story. I've had people in the accounting sector that said they could relate because they are one African American and they're also in a industry that's predominantly Caucasian or another race. I've had people talk about how it was inspirational because I talk about my faith journey in the book a little bit too, how my spirituality has really kept me grounded and rooted and not slipping back to BC. So before Christ days.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's been just mixed reviews. So I'm pleased to see the mixed reviews. I'm pleased to hear the transparency and the honesty, what people have to say about the book.
And what about like career professionals who aren't part of a minority group? What type of feedback have you gotten from them? How's it resonated with them?
Oh, one of my allies actually told me it was educational, and she didn't know that African Americans were going through certain things that they were. And she actually challenged herself to go read up on some of the things that were taking place. And she grouped in the whole Black Lives Movement, and we had a good dialogue about how I felt about it. And I was just very transparent and honest with her. And I said, at the end of the day, I'm an African American woman, but I also have, you know, a diverse background because my parents aren't American, so they're Caribbean and South American. So, where we come from, we're a blended family, and I never had to see or deal with certain issues until maybe 5 years ago when someone called me the N-word for the first time, or someone asked me if my niece or nephew who are biracial and they're half Caucasian, when someone asked me, oh, are those my kids, or whose kids are those? I gave those examples, and she was definitely able to um, take it away. And she definitely said, hey, I'm so sorry that you have to endure what you went through, and it's not okay. And she said, I want to do my part by educating more allies. So it definitely helped build a partnership too.
Excellent. And it should be noted, so your book is an international bestseller. Congratulations, that's excellent.
And that's
Thank
the
you.
and that's the international bestseller smile that you just had. That just said, my book is an international bestseller. That's a great achievement. Congrats.
Thank you.
So
Right.
let me ask you this. Do you have like a mentor or someone that just made a major impact in your life? Because just your, the confidence and just the presence that you have is obviously, it's very noticeable and infectious, right? I feel like I'm ready to go and say something to my boss, but I'm the president of my company, so I'm gonna tell myself, man, you better get out of my office. But I'm just saying, for that person, what got you to the place that you are right now?
I would definitely say some of my family members have been very supportive, as well as some of my good girlfriends. They knew that I've always had writing was a gift, so they just encouraged me to write a book and really tell my story. And I have a good girlfriend of mine who I had met here in the Houston area at Lakewood Church, who was also another author. And I was just very drawn to her spirit. So I would say like the Mary and Martha experience in the Bible. And it wasn't until when her and I ignited, when her and I met, like the passion ignited more inside of me, and she prompted me to write a book, and she also gave me her publisher's contact information.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I think definitely divine connections and divine interventions.
Talk about you mentioned the Mary and Martha connection, and I've heard your other podcasts that you've been on, and I heard you mention it. But can you please share that kind of the significance of that Mary Martha connection?
Okay, I'll do it. Let me see the best way I can. So, Mary and Martha, there's this one incident in the Bible whenever Mary was carrying Jesus, but it wasn't until she had a conversation with Martha that Jesus began to leap in Mary's stomach. So whenever Jesus leaped, I coupled that with my experience that I had with a phenomenal author named Tyra. And when her and I connected, it was like my passion inside of me ignited, and I knew that it was confirmation that I was on the right track and that I needed to put out a book like this.
Yeah, I just thought that was profound when I heard you mention that before, that it's just that passion inside you when you got around this other person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was profound. So what advice do you have? Because we've got people that are watching us right now who feel like they're being slighted at work. What steps would you say they should take?
So I have the 3 R's that I like to give. So refuel, refocus, and realign. So you need to refuel your purpose, your passion, and your destiny. You need to refocus on where you want to go in life and what direction do you need to take to get there. So whether it's journaling or getting a vision board so you could write the vision and make it plain, and then realignment. Sometimes when you're going into a new season or a new calling on your life, you have to strip away certain people and things in your life, people and things that weigh you down and that may not necessarily have your best interests at heart. Because sometimes when you're trying to fly at certain altitudes, you can't be weighed down with an extra load. That's why whenever you're flying on the airplane, they make sure they, check your bags for certain weight requirements to make sure it's not overweighted.
Mhm. So we got refuel, refocus,
And realign.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So now, how have the current world events with the Black Lives Matter movement, how has that impacted your work?
I think it has impacted my work because I think people are, being more vocal about it, and people are willing to listen more and educate since they saw it on front page news, someone pretty much getting killed on the news by someone having their knee on their neck. And who would ever want to experience 8 minutes and what was it, 43 or 45 seconds? I think that really woke people up. People knew that it was an issue, but people weren't out up front being bold and talking about it. And I was so my personal opinions, like, why does it take someone getting killed on national television for you to truly want to talk about an issue that was been going on for long, for long time? Like, why does it take that? Did we not learn anything from Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, as well as all the other people that have died and lost their life, you know? And I feel like if you want to go way back, the Black Panthers and Martin Luther King and other people, they stood up because they wanted change. Some people did it peacefully and some people did it violently. But sometimes it takes someone to be out there in the forefront in order for change to be driven.
Okay. And
I hope
then,
that answers your question.
no, that was good. I mean, we're here on the 30-minute hour. We're talking to Genesis Amherst Kemp. She's the international best-selling author. You need to get her book. We'll give you all of that information here. So as far as companies, we have business owners and entrepreneurs that are watching us right now. What steps can companies take to be more inclusive and have more of an inclusive environment for minorities based off of your experience?
I definitely think they need to get all the minorities together versus having separate groups. Like, I know there are some companies who would have a group for the Asians, the Blacks, the Middle Easterns, and etc. And I think all that is doing is creating more segregation, and it's forcing those people to talk about certain issues within their particular groups. Whereas I think all of those issues need to be discussed in a broad spectrum because at the end of the day, they're all minorities. I also think we need to bring in maybe some experts, like, to teach the company on how do you deal with certain races and educate them on what certain races go through, because sometimes people are, they have their blinders on and they're oblivious to certain situations, because if you've never personally experienced it or witnessed it, you're not going to know how to interact with the person that's going through something. So, for example, like with the whole Black Lives Movement, they one thing I like that was the VP of the supply chain department. He had got 16 of us African Americans together and asked us about how we felt and can we share some stories. And I thought that was good because he was educating himself, and I felt like he was trying to do it genuinely and sincere. and it wasn't just for clout, because I feel like some people are out here speaking up, but they're only doing it so they could be seen. Because when you look weeks down the line, like what change have they made to their organization? So I definitely think you have to be willing to make a change, and you have to put actions in place for that change to come, and you have to hold people accountable. So if you have certain supervisors and managers that you know they don't have a good track record, and they have already done certain things to slight a particular group, then you need to give them um, some, how can I say this? I'm trying to think about saying it PC. You need to deal with that individually a little bit more harshly, and you need to send a message to let the other supervisors and managers know, if you treat someone of this particular group or ethnicity a certain way, these are going to be the repercussions you have to pay for. So you have to make an example out of people sometimes in order for other people to get the message, because if you keep condoning bad behavior, it's only going to be infectious.
And here's a little known secret, right? Having a diverse workforce can actually make your company better.
Yes.
Right? I mean, and I just think about like myself and Ted. Ted is in the IT world. That's his background. I've got my perspective from automotive and other things.
Mm-hmm.
It makes our partnership better because we come at it from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. How do we get business owners to really see it that way, that it's really not just about checking a box and keeping yourself from getting sued? It's about bringing the best ideas to the table.
I would definitely say educating them as well as showing them. Maybe you could do a study and show them the metrics, because certain companies, they love metrics and they love to see things down in black and white. Mm-hmm. Because if you could tell a horse all day to drink the water, but if that horse is not ready to drink the water, it's just like beating on deaf ears.
But it's interesting. I've had a lot of conversations, as we all have recently, on everything that's going on. And, this is not the first time that as African Americans that we've protested about how we felt, right? About things that have been wrong that we've seen over the years. But I think this time has been the first time that there's been such a diverse mix of people that are protesting along with it. And I think that you need the diversity in order for the change. I mean, if you look at some of the things that's happened, and every day now you're seeing statues coming down and they're taking food and Aunt your mama. Stuff is happening that's never happened. And I just think that in order to get change, you have to have, you're gonna have to have that buy-in. And I think that with everyone seeing, what happened with, George Floyd, I think it's just opened up everyone saying this has to stop. Yeah. And so, and once that happens, then the change is starting to happen. Right now, everyone sees it as a thing, not just African Americans only.
Mm-hmm. You definitely, I love what you said, Ted. You definitely need your allies to buy in. And sometimes you need someone who may not necessarily look like you in order to grab the ear of someone that's in a higher up position, because sometimes it's better when it comes from the top down versus the bottom up, because people at the bottom could only carry the message so far up the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great point. Okay, so what's next on the horizon for you?
Ooh, I need another divine intervention and divine connection, because I would love to be featured on maybe some big platforms to really get the book out there and really push it into corporations as well as industries worldwide, so they can see it.
You said some big platforms. You're on a big platform now. Don't be acting like this is just some random platform. This is a big platform. Eric, did you hear that?
I heard it. I heard it.
I'm not throwing shade. No.
Listen, we've now lost Ted based off of that comment. Oh, goodness.
Oh, no. Where's Ted?
Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
That was my bi Genesis. You saw the hand up in the corner.
Oh, so you try to do a bye, Felicia.
Oh, right. Bye, Felicia. I was out. No, definitely. We understand.
No, I'm very fortunate to be featured on. I think this is about my 7th podcast now I've been featured on. So, definitely grateful for you all have me on your show. Definitely want to take this book worldwide. And once this whole coronavirus thing is over, I want to start doing some book tours or some book signings. Because people are afraid to go out their house, and I don't blame them because I want to live to see another day too. And you just can't be too cautious. And definitely looking to educate people and really teach them about diversity, inclusion, and equality, because it takes a village and it takes all of us coming together in order to drive change and to pave the way for the future generations to come.
Excellent. Excellent. And how can our followers best connect with you?
So I'm on Facebook at Genesis Amaris Kemp. I'm also on IG at Lady D Richardson. And then if you're feeling bold, you can email me. And yes, I enter my own emails because I'm not that big yet. At Genesis Amaris Kemp at gmail.com.
All right. And so, like, how can people get a copy of the book?
So the book is on Amazon. It's available on Kindle for $2.99, and it's also available in paperback for $13.
Just happen to have a copy with you. Bam!
Right, you gotta be prepared. I stay ready.
There you go.
See, Ted, I need to learn that with my book. I need to mention it more and talk about it more. That's...
No, you don't. You mention it. And you talk about it, so no.
But you could also look at the graphics. See, my book also promotes inclusion and diversity, because if you look at the graphics, you see there's all races on the book cover. There's all different professionals, because I want people to know that it can happen in all industries. And the back of the book shows a world, letting you know that this situation can happen worldwide. It doesn't just have to be corporate America. So I picked these images and this artwork because I want to tell people that I'm all about inclusion and diversity, but I'm also about educating the people and letting them know that there are systemic issues that we have to overcome. And we're not going to overcome it by being quiet. We're going to overcome it by sharing our stories, our personal testimonies, and getting the buy-in from others that may or may not look like us.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that is. That's excellent. So do you feel, from your experience and people you talk to, like the response of most people, if they experience something like what you experienced, is to be quiet and just take it? Is that kind of the typical response from what you see?
Before I wrote the book, that was the response I saw, because when I would talk to other African American women or male in the oil field, they're like, oh, well, if we speak up, then, our ranking is going to suffer because it's a forced ranking system, or we don't want to lose our job. And I was like, but by not speaking up and sharing your story, you're doing a disservice to me, as well as the younger generations that are coming up behind you, because soon you all are going to retire eventually, and it's going to be the younger generation that has to step up and be in these roles. And if you guys don't pave the way for us now, where are we going to be?
I feel the same way. That's what I've been trying to tell Eric. Eric, you got to step up for the younger generation like Genesis and I.
Genesis and who?
Don't be quiet. The younger generation, we're dependent on you.
So you're a part of the younger generation.
I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not old. I'm only 29 years old, but I feel like I got to do this for those that are coming besides and behind me.
Yes. All right. Absolutely. Fantastic. So yeah, this has been an amazing episode. We're about to go around the horn. Okay. And this is the part of the show where we each leave that final thought for the good people. So Genesis, what's your final thought you want to leave?
Can I read the dedication section and maybe 2 quotes?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Hold on. Let me get my copy. Okay, dedication. To Vanessa, my spiritual angel, my ride or die, my bestie, my little sister. Even though you aren't physically here, I know you are smiling down from heaven. Your legacy and impact will always live on. This is for you and future generations to come. So I'm all for the lupus movement because my little sister had lupus and she passed away. Chocolate Drop in corporate America is also dedicated to every admin who was told they would never get out of the box, the one that the corporation places around you because they don't recognize your value and can't see past general administrative tasks. Admins, you are more than just an admin. Use your current situation to catapult you to your rightful platform. To every minority who has struggled to find their rightful place in corporate America, I dedicate this book to you as well. You are the ones who had to constantly fight for a seat at the table, work twice as hard to be seen and noticed, and feel invaluable as if you are just a number to the corporation. Eventually, you find that one divine connection who can see your worth. Only then do you get a breakthrough. To every business professional in all walks of life, you are not forgotten. Everyone has faced and endured various trials and tribulations that could be spoken about, some of which were unfair, while others you turn from a negative to a positive. You have been emboldened to launch out deep and walk into your destiny, purpose, and calling. To those who are willing to take off the blinders, do some self reflection, and work on creating lasting change in the workforce, know that if we do not speak up, stand up, call out unconscious biases, and work on changing the mindset of those ignorant individuals, then we are only regressing instead of moving forward in society. Let's all come together and work collaboratively to make lasting impacts. Lastly, I dedicate this book to everyone who has a dream, not to let people or things keep you in bondage. Follow your heart, share your story, travel, and be the best version of yourself. Someone needs you to pass the baton, be their story, be their voice, narrate their story, or partner with them to create a revolution of opportunities.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for reading that.
Wow.
My pleasure.
We are all inspired at this point.
Yeah.
Ted?
That's a setup. That is a setup. How do I follow behind that?
Never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. Babe Ruth.
Ditto. Everything that she said, I agree. No, that was just, man, this has just been I guess a phenomenal episode, a 30-minute hour. I mean, you just, shared so much. You're just so inspirational, motivational, just stuff, just so much great stuff that you shared with us today. So we appreciate it. Just the whole theme, Eric, the whole theme of just kind of going from the pit to the palace, and we've all had those, as you said, those pit moments when it's, I've had those in business where there's a contract that I've tried to go after that I just knew we were going to win and it didn't happen, and just, just whatever, key presentation that you thought was going to go really well and it went okay, and a lot of those times you just want to just, be like that turtle and just put your head back into a shell. But just, just like as you all have, everyone has said today, you always have to look at that glass as half full, right? You got to look at what that opportunity is, and you're just a spiritual connection that you had that, that God has something greater in store for you, and there's never, as they say, that you never lose, you just learn from each of those opportunities, and just prepares you for what's to come. And so again, just thanking you for your time. Continued success to you, our bestseller. And I just said that because I just like to watch that smile you give whenever we talk about the bestseller. But I just know there's more great things to come from you. Thank you, James.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Us millennials have to stick together. So, it's.
Yeah. A millennial with a gray goatee.
It's silver. It's a
Oh
little
yeah,
silver.
yeah.
It's a platinum goatee. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Let's
right,
get it
right.
straight.
Platinum goatee. I get it. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wisdom,
So
wisdom.
yeah, yeah.
That's right.
There you go.
That's right.
He's wise for a millennial. All
That's
right. Now, so my thought, I have a couple of things. So the first thing is really the perspective on what happened, things that you go through. And you just really have to, and I said this on another podcast, that everything is happening for you and not to you. And that's how you just have to embrace things. And that things that happen are part of the process of getting you to where you're trying to get to. And it's easy to get this thing of, oh, why me? Why is this happening? But it's necessary, because I think it's not just about you. There's somebody else that you're helping. And Genesis, I'm sure, has helped all these people who are going through this thing and not feeling like they have any recourse. They're feeling slighted, but because of Genesis, now they know, okay, it's okay to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that comes across to me is her confidence.
Oh yeah.
That is, so she knows her values. It's not like you can just tell her, oh well, no, this person's more qualified, because she already knows.
Let me tell you, I would have loved to have seen her when she walked in that office with her boss's boss.
Right.
You was like, you was coming with it, with your facts.
Yeah.
I felt he was lost for words. He didn't know what to say, and some of the stuff he did say just seemed like some bull crap.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think that confidence is key.
Oh yeah.
When you know your value, you know your worth, you know where you're going. No one can tell you what you can or can't do, because you already know. So those are my thoughts. And I think this has been an inspirational episode. I know there are people that are watching us right now who feel like they're being slighted, and what you shared, Genesis, has helped them. And they're going to go and talk to their boss's boss tomorrow.
Yeah, Eric, I'm gonna have a conversation with you as the co-host. so you over here talking all this Genesis, you got me. Yeah, so we're gonna have a conversation about my contract.
Come with your facts, though. You got to keep your facts. Get your black and white.
Well, here it is, Genesis. Look at his background. Look at my background. Look at me shiny. Look, he's got the makeup. He's got the makeup team, right? So yeah. So we're gonna have a conversation once this closes out.
See, Ted is missing the background and makeup meetings that are going on. He misses those, so he's out of the loop. You've inspired Ted so much that Ted is gonna go back and talk to the boss of Nucor Vision and say, you know what? I'm not having this anymore.
I'm not having it like that. Yeah.
He needs a dream team.
That's
he
right.
needs a wingman. He needs someone to powder his nose.
That's it.
He needs a whole package.
I'm gonna talk to you, Genesis, at the end of the show. You can help me out. Get this together.
I can help you write your contract, write the vision to make it plain.
There we go. That's what I need. Absolutely.
You know he's inspired when he has to go back and talk to the boss, and he's the boss.
Right.
Hey, it costs to be the boss, huh?
That's it. Definitely.
But you can make boss moves, It's always good.
Go.
Two sides of a story, just like two sides of a coin.
That's it. Absolutely.
Well, cool. This has been an awesome episode. Genesis, one more time, please put your contact and book information out there as far as how people can connect with you and get the book.
Okay, so I am on Facebook at Genesis, Genesis, Amaris, Amaris, last name Kemp, Kemp. On IG at Lady D as in Deborah Richardson. And then you could also email me at genesisamariskemp@gmail.com.
You want to show them the book one more time?
I sure will. I had packed it up, but I got it right.
You don't want them to get the wrong book out there. You want them to get the right book. There it is.
This is the right book. Let me zoom in. Chocolate Drop in Corporate America. From the pit to the palace.
There you go.
If I can do it, you can do it too. Use your voice and don't be afraid to speak up. You are worth so much more. And, be your biggest cheerleader, because you may not always have someone to cheer you on. So know what you're worth and know where you want to go in life.
Know what you're worth, know where you want to go in life. Words to live by.
It's gonna be some stuff shaking. It's gonna be some shakeups tomorrow, boy. Some of our listeners are gonna go in there and they're gonna say, "Look, I'll tell you what I'm wearing."
Hey, my disclaimer, make sure you have your facts in black and white, because I don't want to be sued by nobody.
That's right.
Don't.
That's right. They be like, but you come to work late every day, though.
Oh man.
Don't get you
like I'm being discriminated against.
Right.
Oh, you got to come to work to be discriminated against. You don't even come to work.
You got to pay your dues. Pay your
That's
dues.
right. That's right.
Don't get yourself fired. All right. So you can visit the 30-minute hour, www.the30minutehour.net. This is not your everyday podcast. You can also catch up with Ted and I in the What Now movement. And we have a website for that too, the whatnowmovement.com. That is our time for this week. We got the hands up on the screen. And until next time, have a great one.
Bye.